We're going to start by creating a very basic form. Forms have regular fields, custom fields. We can design all kinds of forms. So we're going to go to Site and we're going to spend a little bit of time in Forms. Right here, when you land on the Forms page, this is where you will see forms. You can create a folder to house specific forms, and you can select the button that says Add a Form, where you can start from scratch or choose from a template. You'll see that we're on Forms and the Builder. We're going to start from scratch and build a form from scratch. This is what the form builder looks like. You're going to see a back button here that'll take you out of the form. You're going to see Form 33. This is the name of the form. We can edit this. We'll call it Contact Us. Over here is where you can preview your form. And then when you want to integrate the form, this is where we'll be able to integrate the form. We'll go through that here in just a second. And this is where you would save your form. Now, on a blank form, it allows you to drag and drop elements. You're going to hear the word elements as we begin to work with funnel builder, website builder, email templates. Elements are what you bring into the form. That's these little buttons right here. We're going to select Add an element right here. And this little button is if we want to add conditional logic to specific forms. So we don't have any existing conditions yet. That's where we drive them down a path of where we want to take them through their form journey. But first, we've got to create a form. So you're going to see a list of form elements. This is the Quick Add button, where you can easily drag and drop the form elements. These are custom fields that are already created. We've got the first name, the last name, the birthday, the phone number, the email. These all attach to the contact card, the contact data. These are your standard form fields, along with if you're collecting their address or a zip code, website, their business name. Then there's some certain customizations that we can do here, and I'll go through all this in just a second. The custom fields, let's say on your specific form, you want to create a custom field. We know how to manage our custom fields from settings. When you go to your settings and you click on custom fields, that's where you can organize your fields by groups and folders, but you can easily create a custom field right here by selecting Add a custom field. We might want to add a how did you hear about us? So we select a drop down option here and a select next, and we can say, how did you hear about us? And then we can select some options: referral, Google, Facebook, an event. Right here where you see group, if you created a group in your custom fields, you might want to create a group that says additional information. And again, that's in settings and custom fields and folders. Maybe you just want this to show up in the contact tab. So we'll have the answer of this form going into the contact. You can also select the answer to this form to go into an opportunity. We're working on forms, so we want to bring everything when it comes to forms and surveys into the contact data. We can easily look and see what's on that form. I'm going to go ahead and select Save because I want to make sure that we do How'd you hear about us? And if you're searching for an already custom field option, now that it's been created, I'm going to look up how did you hear about us? And this is the one we created. We're going to add that. That's what a custom field does. Remember, you can, again, manage those from settings, custom fields, and you can create groups or what we call folders to house those, and that way it shows up on the contact tab. And I'll show you how all of this is going to work and bring it into the contact here in just a little bit. Now on the quick add, we definitely want to, let's say, drag and drop their first name, their last name. Let's go ahead and get their phone number. Let's get their email address. And all we did was drag and drop the form elements. This looks pretty nice. We also have the terms and conditions here. You want to make sure that you are compliant, that they agree to being contacted with you, by you, from you, terms and conditions, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you have permission. They are filling out this form and they select that they agree to get information from you to them. And that's just compliance. So be sure to check out your compliance to make sure that you're covered. Now, the one thing we're missing is going to be a button for the bottom of our form. reCAPTCHA is a great way to help stop bots from filling out your form. You'll see right here in the customize option as well. Now, there are lots of other things that we can do to this form. If we want to add HTML elements, if we want to add an image to the top of our form, we can choose an image. Maybe it's a massage form. Now we've got a massage form. When you select the image, you can change the width and height. I'll make this a little smaller. And there we have an image on our form. You can enter values for source codes. That's a little bit more advanced in forms, but when you're ready, you can definitely find that in the help docs. If you want to add another TC, terms and conditions agreement, that's the terms and conditions here as well. And that's adding the elements into your form. So on the left side is elements, dragging and dropping the elements, or selecting any custom fields or creating a custom field inside of your form. Now on the right side, this is where we can design our forms. If you want to get really creative in making and enhancing your form, let's say your website is a dark background and you need these whites, or you want to change these and you don't want to have first name twice all through this, let's go ahead and go through these editing tools. When I click image, I can left align the image, I can center the image, or I can right align the image. You saw I can change the image to a smaller picture or a larger picture. I can adjust the image width and height. If you change this, you can see it's distorting the image. If you leave this blank, you'll see that your image distortion does not happen. I just click that little arrow to close it out, and you'll see right here the symbol, styles and options. We'll go ahead and open that back up again. Now what we want to do is we want to go into these fields. How do we want to design our form? Before we get into this, when we select and look at styles, these are the styles of how you would want to design your form. For example, if you want it to be an inline form, it brings the form inline, where it just basically does the first name, last name in a row, and it just shortens up the form. If you don't want to show a label, you can hide the labels. The labels are the top parts of the form. Right here where it says full screen mode, that's usually what we want to do. Input style, is it going to be a box style, or we can select a line style? So you can see the difference. Box style, line style. Do we want to have a background? Do we want our form to maybe have a background, a blue background? You can select the background color for your form there. You can even select a border here as well. So if we just wanted to create a border, or if we wanted to create a colorful border, we could create border that would match our website. So then you can have a solid line, a dotted line. You'll see it's dotted, dashed line, a solid line, or again, just by selecting none. I'm going to leave this as a solid. And then right here is your corner radius. If you want to round the corners a little bit more to make it look a little bit more modern, there's your rounded corners. If we wanted to do a little bit more, that would be the corner radius. And the width of the form is usually standard at 650, so you can usually leave that the same. Unless you're trying to cram this form in, you're going to want to change the text size to make it a little bit smaller. Now let's go through here. We've got our background. We can have a shadow. You can see all kinds of fun stuff here. We can do the field style background. So if we wanted the background to be purple, we could do something purple in the background, right? You can get as creative as you'd like. Then down here, we've got another border. So right here, you'll see we're talking about field styles. Do we want to stay with that gray border? Or do we want to go with a purple border to match? And you can see right here, that's the purple border. And if I moved it back to box line, you could actually have it be purple as well. All right, so let's keep going down. We've got the padding here. So if we don't like this padding, we can set this to 0 to try to bring in our paddings on the left and right side to make the form a little bit smaller. You can play with that based on where you're going to put your form. Then we've got our label. So we've got the text color for the label. And then the short label, we've got a text cover for. The placeholder is right here. This is going to be the light gray. This is what we had in the form, which we're going to go over here. We'll make some adjustments in here shortly for that. Then you've got your custom CSS. If you want to add an image background to your form, you certainly can, or an image header. So if you don't want to use the image here that we brought over, we can close that out. Let's go back over here to my design tool. And let's edit the header image, and let's put this in the header image, and there it is. With the header image, it makes it very big, so you want to make sure that you set a good style. If you don't like that, you can find a longer header image here as well, and you'll see it just brought in another image. You can design the look and feel of the style of the form. So if I don't like that and I want to go back and select just the image element for my form, I can do that as well. We'll go select that image that we just did because I like that one better. We'll change the width, we'll make it smaller, and now we've got a form. Themes are great because you can set default themes for yourself. So if you didn't like this theme, maybe you want to use a different theme. This is the default theme. This is the animal lover theme. Let's say if we wanted to go a little bit more elaborate, let's use this theme. It says switching this theme will result in a loss of current style modifications. Okay, we'll go ahead and proceed. Now we've selected a templated theme that we can make. Now, check this out. This is the background image right here, the leaves. So what I can do right here is all I have to do is change the background image to be my massage image. And now I've got a massage. It's a little blurry. It works. I can also select another image as well. You can select from a different style of themes. Let's do this one. Check it out. You can change your theme of the form. Then options here is giving it a form name. So we called it contact us right here. Conditional logic will take precedence over the message redirect here. So if you set conditional logic for your form specifically, most people on a regular form, you're going to just either add a message. What happens when they submit the button? That's where we click on the button. Do we take them to a URL page? Or do we want to leave them a message? In which case you can fill out the box. Thank you so much for submitting your form, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. You could do whatever you'd like in here. You can add some bullet points, and you can also add a link as well inside. So if they want to click a link, maybe go schedule an appointment or something like that. If they're done with the form, you want to send them to a URL page to book an appointment or send them to a URL page to watch, listen, look, or learn something. That's a great way to do it. Then down here, you can select the background once the options are set up. If your background on your website is darker, you may want to switch these and make sure you set the font size. If you're using Facebook Pixel ID, this is where you would add the Facebook Pixel ID. And then the page view would be right here. You can select the on-page view, on form submission, submit an application. We could just call this the contact. This is the contact form submission. And then down here is going to be your form settings. I like to turn this on if I have specific people that will continue to come in and visit my website. It'll remember them based on the fields that they filled out. So if you have another form that you're going to have them fill out, a great example of that is if they fill out your form and you're sending them to a calendar page, if you add the sticky contact, it's going to remember all the basic information and allow your customer or your potential lead to only fill out the questions and submit. Let's make it a little bit easier for our users when they're filling out our forms. The final thing down here is use a GDPR compliant font. If you need to change the fonts for your GDPR compliance, that's what that is. That is the form elements, style, themes, and options of your form. I'm going to go back to themes so I can show you something a little bit easier that won't be so distracting. So right here, when I hover over, you're going to see this little bitty box, and it's going to show the field name. We already have the label, which is the first name, so we don't really need a first name in the placeholder. You can remove the label. So if you watch what happens when I remove the label, now it's very simple. They can see that this is where they would put their first name. If you don't want the placeholder to show, you would remove the placeholder and put their last name or the text above. If you remove both, they don't know what they're filling out. If you want to give it a short label, you can. If you want to give it a query parameter, you can add that as well. So this says query is phone. This is where we want that to go. So we're going to go ahead and just move this. Let's go back to the first and last name. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we either make it required or you can even hide a form field. I would recommend requiring first name, last name, and it'll put an asterisk here. If you're requiring specific fields, it might look better if you type in first name as the label and then leave the placeholder blank. But placeholders are also great for instructions. You can put in here on the phone, we could put the placeholder, please provide your mobile phone or work phone or whatever you'd like to do. Email, you could put in any specific instructions there as well. And you can see right here, I've just got these required. So it looks a little bit better when you do first name with a required than just having this. Last name, and I'll remove the placeholder. And now it looks good. Your custom field as well, you could change the label and the placeholder if you want to add placeholders. This particular form is a drop down, so we don't need it. But we can make it required to how did you hear? And again, you saw the asterisk show up. We've got the button. If we want to edit this, the agree to terms and conditions, this is going to be important. When you click on it, again, we've got the box around the order. Then over here is where you would put your terms and conditions. And you can see right here where you can highlight the terms and conditions. When you highlight it and you click the link, that's where you can link it to your website terms and conditions. Now let's look at the button. If we want to change the look and feel of the button, we can absolutely do this. We can say contact us. You can say submit. We'll reach out. Let's just say we can't wait to hear from you. All right, so we can't wait to hear from you. Now you'll see right here, the background color is green. And down here, the text color is white, but the subtext color is not white. I can change this to white. And now we've got a readable form. So let's go back up here. We can change the background color to our wonderful purple. You can change the border style if you want to do a border, if you want to make it dotted, slashed, if we want to make it a radius, if we want to make it radio dial, you can do that. You can select full length, full width. You can select your padding, your shadow of your button, and again, you can change the text color and the subtext color. That's how you edit the elements of your form. Now, once we select save, now we've got the form all ready to go, whether we did our own style, whether we selected a theme, or added any additional options. Now we're ready to integrate the form. When you select integrate, you'll see right here on the integration form that you've got a sticky bar, which will show up on the left, polite slide in, a pop-up form, or an inline form. This is your most common. This is where you would want to embed the form on your website. We could do copy embed code, grab the code and add it to an external website, or you can copy the link. Let's go ahead and click open link and you'll see what the link looks like. If you want to add that to an email or to a text message or anything like that. Now that we've got our form done, I'm going to go ahead and select save. Let me call this form demo so that way I can find this here. And we'll go ahead and save the form. Now let's go back. We're out of our form. And then if we want to type form, we're going to type contact. And there's our form right here. So you can select the three dots. You can edit the form. You can duplicate the form if you want the form to have the same look and feel, but maybe you're going to put it on a different page with some different questions. You can share the form. You can move it to the folder. You can update from a template or you can delete your form. Once you set up your form, I'm going to go into a funnel site and we did a sample package site. Let's say we were just going to add it to any funnel or web page. I'm going to come in here. When I go into the funnel, again, this works for both funnels and web pages. Right here, when you want to add an element, we can a form. You can select your form, add it to the page, select the drop down. We'll select the contact us demo, and there it is put right into my funnel page or my website. Now you have a way of collecting data. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and preview the site. So let's say we're on the website and here we go. I'm going to put in some data. Demo fun. My last name is form. We'll put in a random number here. We'll put in a random email. How did you hear about us? We'll say Google. We'll check this. We'll check this and we'll select contact. And then it says, thank you for taking the time to complete this form. If we had put a URL, it would have taken us to our, guess what? Our calendar or our learning page or whatever page you want to do. Now that we've selected a form, we've filled out a form, and we've set it up, I'm going to go back into our sites and we're going to go back into our form. Right here, you're going to see where we built our form. Now we're going to select Analyze the Form, and you'll see that I've had a submission to my form. Any submission to any other forms, you can view the submission. When I view the submission, it takes me to the submission section. Let's go back to Analyze real quick. You could select dates here. So you can do this week, last month, and see how many forms are being filled out. And then you can easily go right to those forms specifically. Let's go ahead and go back to submissions. The final part of the form is your submission. How can you see and have a backup of your submission forms? You go to submissions. You can select a specific form. You can select how many pages you want to see, search by their name, and then right here, you'll see the demo form I just filled out. So if we went to demo contact us form, I would see all the people listed here that would have filled out this form. The form fields right here. You'll see these page details with direct traffic, sources, IDs, however they came in are going to be right there. Right here, you can select this little blue icon and look what's going to happen. It's going to take me to my contact, who is going to show me the activity that a form was submitted. You can see contact us form submitted. Click the form. It shows up right here. So easy to do and see what they did. Remember, if you create custom fields, and that is going to be the settings and custom fields, you can create custom folders or groups. So you could put all of the website data into a place right here and call it website leads, form leads, whatever it is the customer has filled out, and have that also show up here. Let's say, for example, I said, how'd you hear about us? I put that in the contact area. Here it is. How did you hear about us? You can see the Google field. And that is just organizing and telling it where and what folder you want to have the form filled in. The contact's been created. And at the very end, I'll show you some really cool things that you can do with forms as well. That's how you build a form, analyze a form, and view the submission, and easily get right to the contact who filled out the form, the potential lead, or the current customer.
Oh,